Everyone, welcome back to the channel BioNIC. Today's video is all about developmental bio, and this will be the first part of it. This is going to be specifically taken from standard book references, the terms that we're going to study in upcoming lectures. I don't want you to be confused with them, so we are just going to understand what certain terms mean, and we'll keep this video a bit brisk. So first, let's start with the contents. In this, you'll study about how zygote to organism, the basic development happens, and then cellular diversity, morphogenesis and regeneration, and embryology, differentiation and continuity of life. So the very basic concept, 0th level, is development. Now we know that a certain gradual slow growth is seen mostly in all the adults which grow up to be multicellular. We see that a baby who is 1 day old and then to an 80 years old old man. The next development that we see in multicellular are very strictly happening in one of their cells that are mostly present in reproductive systems that give rise to an egg cell and a sperm cell. Now these two combine, and after fertilization we come across a thing that is known as zygote. Now the zygote is something which is very crucial in our developmental bio. It is like we use this in our stem cell because it is totipotent, and we also use this as a reference for developmental bio because this is a stage where everything happens. We can notice it, and we can understand different ways in which an organism develops. Previously, when the study of animal development was discovered or traditionally studied, we came across a term that is known as embryology. Now we know what embryo is, a small cell that has a lot of cells when it starts growing in different division stages and leading up to an embryo up to the 32 cells. These embryos are traditionally studied for a long time to understand developmental bio. Next, not to leave out plants. Plants are perpetually known for their growth. Now this growth that we see in their lifespan can be indeterminate. That means the plant that we see at a day old, which has a small root, a small shoot and a little bit of leaf. Now the first day is obviously seed, which is actually starts fertilizing in a flower. Let's say this is a flower. Now here is what fertilization happens even in plants, and this further leads up to seeds, and then they get dispersed, and then we come across a plant. So their growth, the small sap can grow up to a long tall tree which could be mostly 300 feet. This is very tall for any normal human. So these plants, they have the capacity for a whole organism regeneration, as we have seen in calyces. We all know what callus is. It's a mass that is undifferentiated and helps in forming different cells. Now these are mostly considered totipotent stem cells. Now, when it comes to regeneration, there are several animals that we consider for regeneration, like planaria. Planaria. Next comes metamorphosis. Now, this term is used mostly for a beautiful transformation of tadpole to frog or caterpillar to butterfly. Now, we all know a beautiful caterpillar. It's like this. It's feeding off certain things. Now, this converts into a beautiful butterfly. We have all catched it, we have all played with it, we have all run from it and towards it. The next, basic concept level 1. As we're studying about developmental bio, we have to come across diversity of cellular structures. Now a cell, suppose we have hematopoietic stem cells, they have different lineages, myeloid, lymphoid, and then they further divide into different types of cells. Now similarly, this happens even for zygote. They form into 32 cells and even more, and each cells, according to their positions, are known to have different function and properties and different maturation and structural positions to take. Now second comes continuity of life. As an species, we are supposed to give birth to next generation. That is what survival means, right? Survival of fittest means we are happily leading on to next generation without any much more harm. So continuity life is one of the most important factor in developmental bio. Next, a very basic question. How does one single zygote give rise to an adult? One single cell giving rise to different multiple cells. Now this is all possible due to stem cells, but we here would understand a term that was labeled as differentiation. Now differentiation is nothing but how one cell gets fertilized, give rise to different types of cells, and then these cells become muscles or neuron or lenses or blood cells and different other cells. Now this is what cellular diversity actually means. Now let's understand pattern formation. As you see a little cute little cat here. Let's say this cat and every other organism, we all have a position which is recognized by certain patterns. Now head is always anterior, tail is always posterior, and our limbs are lateral to the medially positioned nervous system. So, and our heart is a bit left. Now this happens, and these certain indication of patterns helps us understand a little bit more about embryology. Morphogenesis. Morphogenesis is when a certain cell, which is differentiated cells, are not randomly distributed. Now this means that they can undergo different intricate differentiation that could lead to further formation of tissue, organs. Now during such a development, a cell can divide, migrate, die, fold, separate. Now the folding of tubular shape of nerves, brain, spinal cord, this is seen in neural plate formation. Our digestive system is also functioning, and it has a very wide morphology. Suppose it starts from mouth and then the anal opening, which is very intricate. Now this type of creation that is ordered is known as morphogenesis. Morphogenesis is nothing but certain changes that are drastic. Now how does an adult body produce yet another body? Now this is a very basic sperm and egg theory, which is highly specialized cells that can transmit the instruction of making a new organism and passing on the gene from one generation to another. One of the questions which you should ask yourself: how does these germ cells set apart what the instruction in nucleus and cytoplasm that allow them to form next generation? A little hint: CT, cytoplasmic determinant. We'll discuss about it later. Now let's go for regeneration. Regeneration happens in every part of the body for some organisms, not all. Example: salamander, planaria. They can specifically salamander can generate their eyes, their legs, and many other reptiles can generate their tails. We know our lizards, they sometimes leave the tail behind, while the mammals are known for the pure generation because they have very selective and fewer stem cells. All for today. We are going to study way more and in depth in next few lectures. These are just a little bit of theory and the terms that I suppose a lot of people don't know and have problems understanding, just the basic foundation layer. So tune in. Wish to see you in the next video. Keep watching, keep learning, and solve questions.